We are going to show you how to spruce up your gift wrapping with products from Blick. We have 3 different gifts we're going to wrap today and show you 3 different styles. All you need is some craft paper, decorative paper, and some Blick paint. First, you need to measure your craft paper to the size of your gift. So we are going to cut. We are going to start with the black gesso and just take the end of a brush. You can also use the end of a pencil eraser, and we will use a little bit of black paint, dot it, and make a pattern on your paper. You may need to twist the end of the brush to get circles. If you use a pencil eraser, it will make a nice little circle for you. And just do this in a random pattern and fill it as much or as little as you would like. You can use the gesso right out of the container. You don't need to add anything in order for this pattern to work. Okay, we're going to let this dry and we will start on our next technique. For our next technique, we are going to use a piece of 30 by 20 decorative paper. It fits this gift perfectly. You're going to use the Blick matte acrylic. We are going to start with white. The white works well out of the bottle, but the gold paint is a little thicker, so you will need to add some water to try to get a good splatter effect with this. We're gonna start with our white paint. We'll put a little in our dish. And there are a few different techniques you can use to get a nice splatter effect. Put some paint on our brush, and you can flick the brush like so. You can also tap the brush on your fingers. And the last way, which is very messy, you can rub the brush along your fingers and you get a nice galaxy effect. So we have our first color done. You don't necessarily have to wait for the first color to dry. You can just move on to whatever other colors you want. We're going to go with gold. As you can see, the gold is much thicker than the white. So we are going to add a touch of water and stir that up to get a better consistency. Just go ahead and do this over your whole decorative paper, as much or as little as you would like. Then leave this to dry. The decorative paper takes just a touch longer to do that, and then you'll be ready to wrap your gifts. We are going to measure another piece of craft paper for our next technique. We are going to be using white gesso for this and a thicker bristle brush. The goal of this technique is that you can see the texture in the paint. The gesso is very thick. You just want to get the end of your brush covered and place it down and pull through. And as you can see, the brush marks end up in here as well. You can do a nice pattern of 2 or 3. Try to make them all the same length, but you can go ahead and do any style that you want. Once you are finished with your pattern, you can let this sit to dry. This does take longer because the paint is thicker, but once it's finished, it will look great. I went ahead and wrapped my gifts using all the techniques that we showed you, and I added some accents like the tissue paper, some white ribbon, some plain black craft paper here. And I went ahead and I used the craft paper with the black dots and made it an accent on black craft paper gift.